Hello, my name is Frances Fox, and I am a trained remote viewer, and all my psychic skills have been trained and honed and tracked, statistically measured. I have a superpower. I didn't declare it. The scientists in the military that I worked with, or that worked with me when I was a child, said that I had the power of induction, which means that when you are in my presence, my energy field augments your psychic abilities. And I know that this is true. Through the years, I've had several friends that have seen me frequently, and then we saw each other less. And they would call me and say, "We need to have lunch. We need to have dinner. We need to spend the day together." I can't see anything anymore. In other words, psychically, they couldn't see anything anymore because they hadn't been with me often enough. This was according to them. I believe it because the military said it. So when you're on this chat with me, whether it is here in a video on YouTube, Facebook, on X, or it's on the podcast version, you are automatically in my energy field, and your psychic skills should augment. And because your belief system will now include a widening of your lens to the other dimensions with the information that I give you, that will also have your psychologies augment. You don't have to believe anything that I say. You should listen and hold it as information, because maybe a lot of what I say today, you won't have a place to put it, especially if you're relatively traditional or very, very much hooked into the current, which is collapsing paradigm of the material dimension, the physical dimension being what's important. The other dimensions have always been there, but today the other dimensions are becoming increasingly important. Therefore, the title of today's chat, which is Music Therapy for Teeth. How can that be? I saw on YouTube, we asked Mateo Cuaron, incredible composer, to compose music for us, and it's called Mantrista Music, and it's for our sensory and music therapy videos. They're unbelievable. They're very healing because we choose the images and the music that he composes to address particular issues. And a lot of the videos are 10 hours long so that you could sleep with them. That means that your environment is also getting a purification. Your environment is also getting a healing. But back to music therapy for teeth. It turns out that on YouTube, there's several videos that have the frequency for your teeth to grow back. I was like, come on. And then I went, no, 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 come on, no. It's being firmly established that sound is the biggest healer. It's also what can make you the sickest, which is the problem with Wi-Fi and 5G. They have a sound, which you can't hear, your pets can hear, animals can hear, you can't. But it basically is killing our environments and killing our kids. But there's other sounds that can counteract it, which is why you have to become a follower of ours, because then you'll be able to find out about that, and you can have those sounds in your home all day long to help heal your home back to teeth and regrowing them with a frequency. So I copied the frequency. I sent it to Mateo Cuaron, and I said, I would like to do a sensory therapy music video with this. And he sent me the piece last night, 7 minutes long. It's the frequency that will have your teeth regrow. And I know that it's accurate. So I'm going to just read you a couple of my reactions to this music. I don't have it ready for you to hear today. I will probably have it next week. And within a couple of weeks, you'll be able to have it in your home. But let me tell you what it is that his reaction, he doesn't react. He's very elegant and very cool. But he said to me, I had an incredible experience with this music, which is all built around the frequency that regrows teeth. So I'm going to read to you my reaction to it, and then we're going to go ahead and apply it to problems in the planet today. This is news from other dimensions. This is not just a self-help and self-therapy chat at all. This is a multi-dimensional chat. What you learn can be applied mostly to a particular dimension, but generically it can apply to several dimensions. this is a very exciting time to be alive because the discoveries are unbelievable. So here is my experience with it, just for you to widen your lens. Okay? Give me a second. Let me get it up here. Darn. This is very weird. I guess, hold on a second. Oh, because I sent the message to Mateo. This is what how my body reacted to the music. My jaw immediately tensed up, big time. Now my shoulders are relaxing. My shoulder blades release tension. My ears are perking up. The bones in my jaws are separating, creating more space for breath. The top of my head is opening and I can flex my jaw. And this was the most important statement. I'm a remote viewer, remember. I see my teeth vibrating, literally like trying to reconstruct, literally looking for material to recalcify. And I went, wow, so quickly? And then I continued. This is awful to say, but my mouth is throwing off images and sensations from sexual abuse. That is a frequency. It is the frequency with other frequencies. I don't know enough about sound or music to be able to explain it. But here's what it is that I know, and this is why it's important. Even if you have no issues with teeth, any issues with sexual abuse, you need to listen to this video. And it's going to be free. So there's not no issue. Oh, yeah, how much is she going to charge for that? Nothing. So teeth are in the throat chakra. Well, here, throat chakra. And I'm showing you its nose, mouth, ears, top of the chest, to kind of like the thymus. The most important portal that we have, that I have seen, that the bad galactics come into the planet, into our bodies, is behind the left ear, throat chakra. And I figured out if this can actually work on the teeth, and now I know it also works on sexual abuse issues and on throat issues, so it should work great for thyroid issues. That must mean that it can help repair that portal that's on the left side of the head, which has to do with the bad galactics. Because the good spirits do not enter your system. They don't enter your energy bodies. They don't enter your physical body. They don't make you sick. They don't enter. The bad ones do. And the ones that enter through the left ear are the really bad ones that in the Catholic Church are called succubus and incubus, which are the ones that are responsible for extreme sexual perversions. But going back to the galactic bad guys, you know that our planet is now no longer isolated from galactic beings, galactic planets, etc. We are no longer protected. We're no longer fenced off from them. And we're merging with a whole series of beings with different value systems, different intentions. Some are good, some are bad, some are sick, some are awful, some are from the future, some are from the past. I mean, it's like wild. And then you have half the people on the planet, and I'm going to say it again, arguing with their kid who says they see a spirit that comes out at night, and they're telling the kid there's no spirit that comes out at night. In other words, they can't even deal with spirits. They're going to deal with the galactics. Anyway, there's a lot of galactics that are so much more powerful than us. And I believe that this frequency can help to repair what I have found is the biggest opening to them, which, by the way, opens up really quickly when you use your cell phone a lot or you're on the internet a lot. Anything with Wi-Fi destroys this particular opening, which is in the root R-U-D-R-A chakra, which is supposed to be back here, but it's actually back here. It's actually here. It's not all the way in the back. Something moved? Oh yeah, the magnetic North Pole moved. Maybe that's why it's not in the back and it's on the side. So we got sound. We got sound that can help heal, and sound that can help us in the battle against attacks and invasions, zombies, and against invasions, the spirits that don't let us sleep at night, and the spirits that make you crazy with compulsive thoughts, because every time you have a compulsive thought, that is a spirit kind of perched on your shoulder like a broken record saying, I want to drink, I want to drink, I want to drink, I want to drink. Or, oh my God, something's going to happen to my kid, something's going to happen to my kid, something's going to happen to my kid. I am a Cancer. We have a tendency for compulsive thinking. Oh my God, it's horrible. I never let anybody know that. Continuous in your head. Probably all the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, have the same thing, but I don't ask. It was too embarrassing to not be able to control my mind. That doesn't happen anymore because I substituted mantras. But one day I wanted to understand. And one day I was in a conference. It was actually given by a friend of mine. And she's very perfectionist, and she's giving her conference. She's got her PowerPoint up there. And all of a sudden she looks at it and went, oh, that's a mistake. There was a spelling mistake, which I would have never noticed, but oh, there's a mistake. But I know her. I know her. And I know that was like sticking a knife in her heart, the fact that she made a mistake. But what was really important is what I saw next. That I saw, she always had a spirit that was kind of like here close to her back, the back of her neck. And most of us have spirits hanging around trying to figure out when they can jump in when we get unhappy enough or upset. And it moved to her left ear and it started to say, you're not perfect, 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 you're not perfect. And I went, oh my God, now I understand. So when you have compulsive thoughts or you have an addiction and you swear that you don't want to do that anymore, you don't want to eat any more candy, you don't want to have another drink, you don't want to whatever, it's a spirit. Your intention is not that. And you did not know that that voice in your head is a spirit. So I was like, oh my God. So anyway, at the end of the conference, my friend walks up to me and said, hi. And I said, hi, it was good. She said, oh, you liked it? Yeah, it was really good. And she said, what did you see? And I said, me, what you were showing, I mean, it was good. And she said, no, 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 you know what I'm asking. I went, okay. And she said, what did you see? And I said, well, you know, when you pointed out that you had made a mistake, which is not a big deal. She said, yeah, yeah. I said, you had a spirit that kind of jumped on your shoulder and like a broken record was telling you that you weren't perfect. You weren't perfect. You weren't perfect. She said, oh my God. She said, no wonder. Right after that, all of a sudden I was exhausted. Of course, she was trying to keep her train of thought, continuing with her presentation to a group of people. And she's got this spirit that is telling her exactly what she does not want to hear because she's a perfectionist. She really is. She's great at everything, does it very well. And she went, oh my God, that's why I got so tired. So seeing this stuff in the other dimensions, very important. Knowing that spirits talk inside your head in your voice, you need to know that. And you need to tell your kids that because the spirits are telling the kids at night that they're going to kill them or that they're going to kill their parents. Could you imagine? And that happens a lot. You need to tell your kids about that. That there's some crazy things going on and kids are saying that there's kind of like these spirits that are talking this stuff, and just pretend that you're not quite sure whether you believe it or not, but give them the information. So how I got off to that from frequency, I don't know, but we're going to go back to frequency. So we have a frequency basically that can help your teeth regrow. And I'm telling you that when I heard it, I could feel my teeth literally looking, they were vibrating and looking for where they could get the calcium from to regrow. And I immediately thought, I'm low on calcium. So I went ahead and did the golden milk, whatever that my Ayurvedic physician, Dr. Akhilesh Sharma, had recommended years ago to make sure that I do have enough calcium for when I get that video 10 hours long and I sleep with it, that I can get some repair in my mouth, which we all need. Fascinating. Okay, so what are we talking about here? We have produced several videos, okay? I actually don't know what frequency it is, but there's a zillion frequencies. But you can look it up on in YouTube because there's now several videos that have that. The only thing is that the video that we have is the music is being composed by somebody who composes sacred music, and it's that frequency plus a couple of other frequencies so that it's actually tolerable because the frequency is kind of hard to listen to. Got it? Okay. So let me get back to where I was at because now I don't remember frequencies. So we have several videos that we have, Mateo Cuaron and I have put together that are for reducing the fire element because everybody is too hot, the temperature is high, so what is with the fire element? It is the basis. You cannot be angry unless you have an excess of the fire element. You cannot want to hit somebody unless you have an excess of the fire element. You can't go to war unless there's an excess of the fire element. You can't kill and you can't commit suicide unless there's an excess of fire element in you and around you. So we have these videos that reduce it in your environment and in you. So that if you have a home in which there's a lot of electronic equipment, all of us, then you play these frequencies morning, noon, and night, and you balance off the fire that is radiated from the frequencies so that the environment of your home can be healthy. Because health is a balance of the four elements, but it's not just the health of your physical body. You also have energy bodies, and you also have a home, and you have a car, and you have a property, and you have a country. Some countries are too hot. That's most of the countries today. And again, if you don't have too much heat, you can't have a war. You can't have people killing each other. When the heat is low or it's balanced, you cannot have war. If somebody is really angry and you throw a bucket of water on them, the anger is gone. It stops them in their tracks. Water puts out fire. Earth puts out fire. So frequencies, very important. Why aren't we using frequencies having to do with violence with other people? I recommend, and we actually have a service where people send us the photographs of their family and we put it up as a collage. And then we put one of the sound music videos on top of it. So you've got you've got all these images, which is usually water, movement, glaciers, whatever. And then you have the photographs of the family on the same video with the music, the composition that Mateo did. And you can play it for hours. So you're giving your family a healing for hours. I have one and I have it on at night. I think it's like 6 hours. And it's got all my family. So when somebody's separated in the family, we had a whole video. It's not that I wanted to kick out the other person, but I wanted to make sure that whoever knew whatever they had to be in the video. I'm so sorry. It also clears the environment, your home. So you're doing a healing on these people. And I asked the dolphins about it. And also the environment that it's playing in. Why can't we do that with war? Well, we're already doing it. 2 years ago, we recreated a video, the first one we did, which has pink medusas in water. It's beautiful. And we put a map of 22 countries. We did 22 videos. Each one has a map of a country. And then we did one for the entire planet, was the map of the whole country. And you take that video and you play it. And you're transferring those frequencies to the country. What's the background to that? How do we know that works? Well, it works, but how do we know that? Ayurveda is the oldest medicine on the planet. Okay, let me put something up here that some of you might be interested in. Spiritually Sophisticated Mantrita says it's 432 hertz frequency, the one for the teeth. So you can go to YouTube and you can start with that. And when ours comes up, I think you're going to prefer ours because it sounds really good. Okay, so darn, lost my train of thought. So Ayurveda is the oldest medicine, the oldest organized medicine on the planet. The oldest medicine is shamanism. Shamanism works with two things, the elements and spirits. Oh, that's what Jesus Christ worked with. Yeah, he was a shaman. Yep, yep. Before he started his ministry, he went and used the element of water to get ready. Baptism. Anyway, so the first organized medicine on the planet is Ayurveda from India. Their Bible is actually the basis of their medicine. Oh, that's neat. And that's as it should be. So I had the fortune, the good fortune, I did not know how much of a good fortune it was when it happened, to have an Ayurvedic physician live with me for several months many years ago. So I had a little session with him for my health. And one of the things he said was, and many of you know this story already, he said, you should get a painting or a photograph of a beach scene and put it in your living room. And I went, okay. And I wrote it down my little notes. And then I thought, how arrogant. In the middle of a session for my health, and he's redecorating my house. He lived with me at that point. I thought, that's interesting. You know what? It took me years for me to realize he was recommending medicine. He was recommending water, which is what I needed the most, the water element in my life, via a painting or a photograph in my living room where I would see it all day long. I did not know that, and he didn't explain it. He just recommended it because that's what I needed, but I didn't know why I needed it. So I assumed he was trying to redecorate my house, and of course I didn't get it. That is the basis for me saying that why aren't we dealing with wars with frequencies? Because the same way the water element from that picture transfers to my environment and to me, if you take the frequency in sound with the picture or the map of the country, it transfers. This is not the physical dimension we're talking about. The desire for war and to kill doesn't start on the physical dimension. The evidence are the bodies on the physical dimension and the poor behavior, but it doesn't start there. Sound influences incredibly the human energy system. According to science, it has to be the biggest influence because they're saying it's the thing that heals the most. Why aren't we dealing with war issues with frequencies? Maybe we are. Maybe there are people that are creating war with the frequencies that are not good for us. Next. So you have a kid that's angry. Your kid changed personality. He's angry. He's got the frequencies of microwave that creates too much fire. That's the basis for violence and anger, frustration, whatever. Okay, then you need to get the frequencies that put out fire in his bedroom so that even when he's not there, his bedroom is getting a healing. You're having problems with the country. Why are you not sending the frequency that will soothe them, that will make them more trusting or more trustworthy? Why? That's what this new world is going to be about. And you're going to be able to learn about it here in Francis Fox News from Other Dimensions. I'm going to be very proud to teach you those things as I'm learning them myself, because remember what I did about that painting on my living room, I never put it up. I didn't understand. Now I understand and I can share it, which I think is one of the reasons why I wasn't born in a mountain in Tibet, because I did have a year of training there, and I wasn't born in or in another country or as an indigenous person, because that is a recycling of tremendous wisdom. That information needs to be here in modern society, which is what I'm doing. And I'm remembering right now I lived with a Bon master in Tibet. He was teaching me whatever it is that he knew, which basically is magic. And he told me that the reason that he had taken me as a student, I was like 10 years old. This was an interesting time in my life. I still have a lot of trauma with the cold and the abandonment. He told me that the reason he had accepted me as a student was because with what he got paid, he would not have to worry about money the rest of his life, about food. He already had a place to live, a stone hut on the side of the mountain. He wouldn't have to worry about that. He was an old man. And number two, that I would take his teachings, which is the wisdom of that area, and bring it to the West and teach it, which is what I'm doing now. So this can be fun. This can be a lot of fun. And I hope to make it that. So this whole thing with the teeth frequency, I think is going to open a lot of people up in terms of widening their lens on what it is that they should be incorporating into their lives. And is this alternative medicine? According to Ayurveda, every single plant, tree on the planet has some type of value in terms of helping human beings, in terms of being a medicine. So yeah, we could call it a medicine. Getting creative. When the Iraq war was going to start, I had just been introduced to marijuana, which means I was in my 60s. I laughed my way through the first couple of sessions, which is what I'm going to call them, because I don't really smoke socially. I actually smoke marijuana for therapy, not just for reducing stress, but because it takes you deeper into other dimensions. So if you do a mantra together with the smoking of marijuana, you're going to go deeper into your tissues, which is where those issues that you want to release eventually cause diseases. That's the reason why that's the main reason why I used to use it. Today, I also take it for relaxation, for digestion, for all sorts of other things now that it is socially acceptable. So the war in Iraq, I thought, why are we dropping bombs? Why don't we airdrop marijuana? And I did a post on that, and people saw it, and I don't know what the reaction was, but I'm sure that they thought I was a little nuts. Come on. It relaxes people. And today they had on X, they have a photograph. No, it was a short video of two dogs, two little brother or sister dogs, whatever, the same. And one of them is just kind of sitting there with the video, and the other one is sitting there with this grin on his face. And the person says, which one of these two dogs ate my edibles? The edibles with marijuana, cannabis in it. The dog with the grin on his face was beyond cute. It was just sitting there with this grin. That was what I thought with the war in Iraq. We don't want people sitting around about dummies, so take less and just become less violent, less angry. When people smoke pot, and I'm not saying everybody should smoke pot at all. Why don't you go ahead and get the cannabis that doesn't have the high thing, which, by the way, means that what God made, you're questioning. Why would you do that? Well, go ahead, question it. What's the problem? And the problem is a lack of creativity. First place, what is cannabis, which is where marijuana comes from? It is a female plant that reduces the fire element. Okay. War is very much a male energy. And it's very much fire. So if you got something that will reduce this is like a really good thing. The problem with it, in terms of recommending it at a national level, is that marijuana cannabis does not produce good soldiers. But we don't want more soldiers. Yeah, I know we don't. So, okay. And it also doesn't produce good consumers, because when apparently, that I don't know for a fact, but when you smoke a lot or you take a lot of cannabis, you become less anxious. And anxiety is the basis for good consumerism. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you a lot of things to kind of shake you up and to open you up to the fact that we can live in a very different world that we live in But definitely with the way we've been doing things, this is not working too well. But there's other stuff still available out there. You don't have to go to another planet to get stuff that's available, like the frequencies, like the cannabis, which now is going to end up being kind of socially acceptable. I had a shaman that it looked very much looked down on cannabis. He was from a mountain in Colombia. It was like, that was like, I mean, I could tell from his face. It was disgusting. But he chewed coke, the leaves. And it's legal for him because he is Indian and lives on a high mountain. So, but he looked down on marijuana. I, at that point, in first place, I don't do it socially, so I would have never done it, smoked with him anyway. Uh, but I found that interesting and I didn't understand. Okay, so he's being judgmental. I wonder what that's all about. And so I asked the dolphins, and they said cannabis is a female plant that reduces fire. So cannabis is great for the United States that needs to reduce the fire. And it's true. As a nation, we're too aggressive. We know that. And coke is a male plant that augments activity and aggression. And people that live on mountains that need to work physically very hard in environments that are very cold, coke is good for them. So Peru, the mountains of Colombia. Wow. Being contextually appropriate. Contextually appropriate. So here we go again. Integrating information from the other dimensions into the decisions that we make, even having to do with world peace and wars, etc. And a lot more fun. A lot more fun to airdrop marijuana over Iraq than it is to have that war that killed millions of people, from what I understand. Blasphemy? No, not blasphemy. Information properly applied based on, hopefully, your intention that there be more peace. So, today in the news, because this is Francis Fox, news from other dimensions, the FBI wants to interview Trump about the assassination attempt. Now, I don't know that that's accurate. I saw it several places. That doesn't mean it's accurate. But one of the places where I saw it, they wanted to ask him about his near-death experience. Okay, did he have a near-death experience? I don't know. But he did totally change after that moment. It's like he's a different person, which happens with near-death experiences. What happens in a near-death experience? Your consciousness, that's you, because this body is not you, goes deeper into other dimensions, sees things, understands things, and then it's not your time to go. Your physical body, not your time to go. You come back, but you come back with frequencies, vibrations, information, awareness of things, and you're a very different person, and you're much more solid. Did he have a near-death experience? And that explains how different he is? Is the FBI really wanting to interview him about the assassination attempt? I don't know. Maybe in a couple of days, we'll already know that, yes, it's true. They want to interview him. I think they should finish their work on who it is and why they tried to kill him. But again, we don't know that this that I just said is accurate. Even though I saw it several places, I don't know if it's accurate or if it's just somebody trying to jerk everybody around. But it's interesting because when you go to those other dimensions, it changes you. And it changes you for the better. You don't come back more aggressive. You come back more aware and more understanding. And I want to take you there, but not the way I was taken by the military and the secret program I was in, but in a much more gentle way, a lot more fun, or at least a lot more effective in terms of giving you information that you can apply right now. Like maybe you need to look and see where your router is in relationship to where people sleep, where your kids' heads are, the pool pump, that's outside of the house, does somebody have their bed on that wall right next to the pool pump? That's 220 electricity. 6, 8, 10 hours a night, your brain, which is an electrical system, is affected by that. I know it not theoretically. I know it because I diagnose people, and then I have to figure out what it is that's going on with them. And too many times it has to do with radiation. So, what you're hearing today, you can immediately use to prevent, or you could go to our YouTube page and look up Mantrista music playlist, and you can choose the country that you want to support. There's 22 countries, mainly Latin America, Central America, the Americas. I believe we have ones for Spain also. I think at one point we did one for Russia. I'm not sure. We don't ever put it on because we don't, who knows what we're going to get accused of. And we also have it with the map of the world. And then we have some that are for the third eye, for the other energy centers. So you can immediately start to apply this. What are you listening to at home? What are the frequencies? What are the vibrations? And where are those vibrations going to take you? I have somebody here that's saying, Mariela's saying his face, Trump's face and expression is different. It is different. Maybe he did have a near-death experience, but that means his consciousness went into deeper dimensions that many of you don't even believe exist or are not privy to that information, which you're going to be able to learn here. Somebody is saying something that's very interesting. For those of you that don't believe in spirits, don't click off, because that's been the problem in this country. We haven't had to accept things that we are not part of our belief system, and then it turns out that the rest of the planet knows stuff that we don't know here. So just stay here. She's saying that on my left side, there are spirits. No, it would be my right side, left side. And most of the time when I am doing these chats, I do have what we call our SWAT team. And those are spirits, obviously from the other dimensions. Obviously spirits that have our frequency or higher and are looking to support what it is that we're doing, which is basically a more gentle escorting into or opening up the other dimensions to people that have not been trained in that. A lot of what I'll give you, you're not going to really hear any other place, because I love experiments. So I'm going to tell you the last experiment I did, which was last night. Got it? And then we're going to go ahead and do a mantra, and we'll put on the sensory and music therapy music so you can relax. Last night I had an event in which I was looking to cut off. It turns out that the movie Matrix was trying to tell us something, and everybody loved it. That movie had tremendous impact on the country, yet it was just a science fiction movie. Well, like all science fiction movies, or many of them today, it turns out that they are telling us stuff that's accurate. So anyway, so we do have implants, but we have a lot of them. They're like these tubes that are inserted into us, and they're hoses that are putting information into us and change us and block us. None of it's good. So I was working on the feet because we had them in the hands. It turns out, I don't know if you're aware of this, and maybe this is going to make it too long, but the planet is scheduled for humans to access superpowers, which are in the third eye, which is why everybody's so afraid of the third eye, and it's always a conspiracy. Everybody has a third eye. How can it be a conspiracy? Everybody has a third eye. So they put it on the dollar bill. Well, those people put it on the dollar bill no more than you do. That doesn't mean that they're trying to do something bad. They're trying to access wisdom, because third eye is wisdom. But it turns out that our superpowers are also there. Superpowers. So we have mythology throughout history. We're required to learn about it in school. Why? It's only a story. Why can't I just read comic books? Mythology is part of our history. We just don't accept that human beings ever had superpowers, but they did. And those gods from other planets are just ETs that have more superpowers than we did at that point. So we are scheduled to access our superpowers that are in the third eye. And maybe the bad guys on the planet kind of knew that, because all that fluoride that's put in our toothpaste basically knocks out the third eye. Why would they do that? Okay. So, lost my train of thought. So give me a second and I'll collect it back. Or maybe I won't. So last night in my event, working on cutting the implants that are like the one in Matrix, that is the back of the neck, except these are in the feet. The information that I got, and I know it's accurate, um, is that of the 2 feet and the 2 legs, the one that is the most compromised by the implants is the right foot and leg. In all human beings, and pay attention now to what foot you usually have on the floor and what foot is usually lifted up. Like, just pay attention to that. And you might want to look at yourself, because once you know it, then your feet start to move on their own. Your left leg channels female power, energy of wisdom. In all human beings, you are female, you are male, you're trans, whatever. Your left leg channels the female energy of wisdom. Your right leg channels the male energy of power. Okay. So guess what leg is the most controlled by the matrix implants? The right leg of power. Wow. Wow. But the wow is not wow yet. When I asked psychically why it was so important, these are ET implants from other planets that the movie Matrix told us about, but we said it was science fiction. Why are they so determined to knock down our power? Because they know that we're going to access our superpowers. So the knocking down of the right leg, so much more than the left, has to do with blocking us in what is human evolution, which is acquiring superpowers again, as we did in other times on planet Earth. So with that, we're ending the news part of this get together. We're going to do the mantra for mastery, which is in your third eye. Remember that science found eye cells in the center of the forehead and said, gee, maybe humans at some point had a third eye. Yeah, maybe they did. That's in mythology. Yeah, but that's just a story. Give me a break. Come on. I think that scientists, our version of scientists, has set humanity back. If I was a scientist today, I would be extremely ashamed of what has happened in science and what science has done to us. So you have eye cells in the center of the forehead. Maybe we had a third eye, but we don't believe in the people throughout history that had third eyes because they're too weird. We're not going to believe that. We're modern. Okay, so mastery is in the third eye. So when you reach your third eye, no fluoride, please. When you reach your third eye and you're actually consciously occupying that space, you have access to your superpowers. But galactic ETs don't want you to have that. I know that. I know sounds like science fiction, but every day something that in a science fiction movie is turning out to be true, including all the robots, including all the ET stuff, including the movie, that silly movie, The Blob. That movie was this big fat blob that arrived at a town and started to eat people up. Okay, how's that accurate and real? Well, in Venezuela, they have a road between the capital, Caracas, and the airport that has something called La Mancha Negra, the black stain. And it is what the blob is. It's on top of the asphalt, and 2,000 people have died in that piece of road. And they clean it up, and it comes back. And they clean it up, and it comes back. It's a living being, like the blob. It doesn't eat people, but it does kill them. It has consciousness. And I saw one of them, on the wall of a home apartment in Miami Beach, probably 10 years ago. And that blob is not just in Venezuela. They have it, and they don't call it the blob. They call it La Mancha Negra, the black stain. I'm the one that's telling you because I can see, which is the reason why I can bring you a lot of this information. So we're going to do the mantra that has to do with becoming a master. And what I understand is that we are afraid of being a master. We're afraid of our power. And we don't need to go into why that would be. It's not important. So the mantras are repeated in silence. And let me get the right wording. And as I say frequently, and I'm not going to get shut down because of this, people in power throughout history have always used astrologers, psychics, numerologists to get information, to make sure that they make decisions based on not just what's happening on the physical dimension, but what could have happened because of the movement of the planets, what could have happened in the past that they're not privy to, but a psychic could tell them, and what could be happening in the future, which a psychic could tell them. It doesn't mean that they do everything. You're not supposed to do everything a psychic tells you. You're not supposed to do everything anybody tells you, including scientists, and maybe particularly scientists today. It's information, and you take it and you put it together and you get this puzzle. The problem is if your belief system stops you from getting information. And once you get into a really, really rigid belief system, a lot of times it won't allow you extra information. Now, in terms of being a psychic in the Bible, I'm not biblical, I'm not Christian. I get information from many different places, and what is valid, I integrate, use, share, whatever. And in the Bible, it says that when you can turn your two eyes into one, my light will shine in you, God's light. And when you're working in terms of metaphysics and this that we're doing, when you can get yourself to operate in that third eye, which is the two eyes coming together, which is balance rather than seeing left, right, etc., you are much more full of light. So this is the mantra. You repeat it in silence. And I'm going to put the trilling music on. And trilling is a sign of the mind streams, the frequency of the mind streams. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the one for the third eye, which has the frequencies for the third eye. And it was done by Mateo. Okay. And we're going to do 10 minutes. And for those of you that are listening via podcast, you can stay and listen to the music. The mantra is, even though I'm afraid to be a master, I love and accept myself. And you just keep repeating it silently and you expel through your mouth, or you can just click off now. And at the end, I'll say goodbye, but I'm not going to give any additional information. So if you need to leave, not an issue. And if you want to stay and take advantage of this session, which is therapeutic, relaxing, easy, an easy way to settle down all that tension that we have, that might be a good thing. So let me go ahead and put it on and enjoy. Okay. You should be a lot more relaxed. See the way my voice has changed? Because I did the mantra. It's hard to be bad people or to be aggressive or to be a warmongering nation if everybody's relaxed. So the faster we get people to understand the power of sound, music, the faster we can get to world peace. And when you put a mantra on it, it multiplies the effect. Okay? See you next week.